just do that way. So here we are for Sat at Home review for WandaVision, Series 1, Episode 7. Breaking the Fourth Wall. Fucking nailed it, Modern Family. Yes!
We both were saying it's going to be Modern Family.
Yeah, I meant our video nailed it. I didn't mean necessarily just me, but obviously mostly me. And also...
Wow!
It's not where I was going yet, but I mean, yes, wow. I think the whole. So yes, I was very excited that it was very Modern Family at the start. It was very clearly Modern Family as a style.
Elizabeth Olsen nailed it as Claire.
Yeah, beautiful take on Julie Bowen, who. Julie Bowen's very funny and has a great style in herself. But down to I think the cleanliness of the image, it had that style to it. There was a sort of a kind of a homage to the theme tune going on. Obviously, they did the sort of like talking to camera and talking slightly off camera stuff as well. And we'll come a bit more to it later on. But obviously, address the whole. Who are the people really talking to behind the camera? Because in Modern Family it was a gimmick, but it was never a thing. And I think we even touched on it. It started off as meant to be like a documentary, but actually ended up being more their sort of conscious streams. So
they were never quite clear on exactly what it was meant to embody in the later.
No. The production team do sort of talk about it in interviews and what have you. I've looked up because I was always kind of trying to work out what it was. We're not really here to talk about Modern Family, are we? I did notice in the opening scenes there was something really familiar about the pattern on her quilt. And I kept thinking, well, it's kind of similar to the circuitry on Vision. And then about halfway through the episode, not when the pattern was on screen at all, it occurred to me, actually, no, it's the curtains in your office upstairs. Have the same pattern on them. And that's why it looked familiar. So I now wonder if Christ, oh fuck me, if my life is part of Wanda's, or is it Wanda's, reality, then I chose this. Jesus. I mean, not you, obviously. Fuck.
I'm just going to press the stop button in a minute.
I'm in trouble.
We need to have a conversation. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Right, okay, so I'm just gonna lay it out there. I got home from work at 8:30 this evening. When I finish at 5. That's the sort of thing I mean. As much as I have great fun at work, because actually I work with some really cool people and we have a scream. I just like to think if I had some choice over my reality, I wouldn't be spending all day worrying about digivans. That's all. Even the digivans are quite awesome. Please book us. And actually, no, don't. I'm busy enough. So, you talk for a bit. I'm rambling.
So, lots to unpack in this episode. I do have to say, wow, was the wool pulled over my eyes. So for obviously those of you that do tune in and watch this video, I made a big thing for the last episode about how, well, I guess that completely debunks a particular fan theory that was flying around.
Oh, this was already a theory, was it?
Yes.
Right, okay.
Because of the similarity of the name.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we had the whole thing. I appreciate I'm kind of jumping ahead a bit here. And this is the big reveal of this sort of episode. Actually, probably...
Yeah, no, I'd say at least one of two.
Yeah.
If not...
It's probably the
at least
slightly
one of
bigger
two.
one in that it relates directly to what's going on the show. But yes, there's absolutely a second one as well, which when it first happened, I literally, my reaction was, oh, shit.
And I looked at him and sort of went,
what?
I don't get it. I've not read these comics. I don't know what's happening. And he had to kind of explain to me. And I went, oh.
Yes. But yes, so...
Shadow, do not jump up behind that camera.
So he jumps
Jump
up
up in
to
front
the side
to
of, and then, hello. Hi. So this is our very own fucking Agnes.
Come on.
So yes. So Agnes is Agatha Harkness.
Any relation to Jack?
No.
Okay, just wondered.
Well, I don't know. You know,
I mean,
multi-universe
maybe.
theory and
Who
all that
knows?
and all that. But yes, we'll talk about. In all fairness, did not see that coming because they did a very good misdirect with the whole Vision clearing her mind and sort of supposedly coming across as just another resident of Westview. But
Even though I remember at the time thinking it was a little odd that the little Flash didn't look quite the same as the others.
Witch colours.
Yeah, he's got his official Scarlet Witch Cherryade or whatever it is. But I could be retrofitting that in my memory. Who knows? But I loved how they did the reveal. I went back through all the eras with that Munsters theme tune.
It was Agatha all along.
I thought that was absolutely priceless.
Yes.
Hilarious. Fucking brilliant. I was going to say something else and it's completely gone. Buggery. Oh, yes, which leads me into what my theory is after reigning champion now of calling what style they're doing next. Because I called Family Ties before that happened. Have I called some of the others? I can't remember.
Didn't I suggest Family Ties?
No, because you didn't know what Family Ties was and I had to sing the theme tune to you. Do you remember? You didn't know what it was. You didn't know Family Ties.
Was that the one with
Michael J. Fox and the Painting?
Yeah, I did know that one, and I did actually say that.
I'm not sure you did.
I just didn't remember what it was called.
I just don't think you did. Because I remember singing the theme tune. Because I sing the theme tune a lot. And so my next theory is, and it ties in with what looked like was going on in Agatha's basement. Ooh, that sounds wrong. And that would be...
Was it flooded?
It's a bit moist. But so naturally, following on from the likes of Modern Family, which started in like 2009, you kind of move into the streaming era. And surely one of the biggest things you can do with that is Stranger Things. And I think that her basement had hints of the Upside Down about it. So I wonder if that's going to be next week's. I mean, it might be for the 2-part finale. They just ditch all of that and get into the story.
Yeah, I mean, I will also sort of just mention as well that I also suggested Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yes.
The remake.
Yeah.
Because again, it's got some sort of very sort of similar stylistic.
Also a streaming show.
Yes, touchstones to.
Then you did see that spell book very briefly.
Yes.
In this as well, and that very much fits that template. So yeah, let's see if we get that right next week. So the other, I mean, there was some other lovely touch. Let's do the other touches for the other big story.
Oh, Darcy, we love you, Darcy.
I bloody love Kat Dennings. I used to love Two Broke Girls.
I couldn't get into it myself.
It's one of those things. It really ought to have been shit because it was just an out of time comedy in as much as it kind of belonged with a lot of things from the 80s. I don't know, like Silver Spoons or something like that. But somehow, I don't know. It was just the charm of the two leads really worked for me. I've never seen the other girl in anything else I can think of.
I don't know who the other girl is.
I can see her face. She's blonde. She was the rich one that became poor, and that was the whole point of the whole cupcake.
Narrows it down considerably.
Yeah. Anyway, can't think of anything else. I have to look it up afterwards. And the whole circus thing. I liked the kind of Mars rover thing. I did at one point say, what are they going to do? Remake Armageddon? But
not that far off as it turns out.
No, it isn't. And the prop used to be in Disneyland Paris, so I've actually stood next to it. There was a terrible Armageddon. Can't call it a ride. It was like a walkthrough experience. Had a lot of fun in there. It's a whole other story.
People just like throw rocks at you.
More or less. You basically walk through the space station that gets destroyed. I will go into it since we started. And then when you stand in the middle, you're in the control thing, and then the screens are windows. So basically, the asteroid is coming. Say it's coming from that direction, and all of the screens work. So all of the bits come towards you, and then they'll go past those ones, and then you'll see them go towards Earth that way. And then and you stand there, and then it just kind of simulates, and it rocks about a little bit. But you're just stood up. You're not even strapped in or anything. It's not like that. It's like at best, it's a vaguely moving platform. And then they just open the door and lead you out. And I was there, me and Mark went, and we were a bit like, this is terrible. But we were there long enough to do everything 2 or 3 times. We went back into it, and we said, right, what we're going to do is we're going to really act up. We had a day of acting up on rides, because that's where the Snow White thing came from. It was that day. Oh, and also the pointy thing, and so basically we stood there and we massively overacted reacting to these screens, and after everyone else had walked out, we just did this whole like and ran out the door screaming as if we were really getting hit by an asteroid, much to the amusement of lots of people from mainland Europe who didn't know how to deal with this at all. But that's when we went on the Snow White ride and said, when you're in the woods on the Snow White ride, and you have to do this, everyone, is when you're in the woods on the Snow White, you have to do Snow White acting. You have to go, oh, oh, ah. You've got this to look forward to when we go to Orlando. The other thing you do is Mark ran around in a poncho all day because it chucked it down with rain my last day, and he would walk up to completely random people, just go, woo, and flash them with his poncho and run away, leaving me just standing there.
I'm quite in favour of that, to be fair.
It was amusing, especially because I didn't generally speak the languages of the other people in the park. I could do a little bit of French, but that was about it.
I've listened to your French.
It's not good.
It's not French.
It's also not really French. Oh no, that's when I'm pretending, doing pretend French. That's something else. So Kat Dennings, love. The whole circus thing was amusing enough.
Yeah.
I did like sort of Vision's realization of why am I sitting here talking to you?
Yeah.
Like a microphone appeared that may always have been there, but I only noticed it at the point he took it off, which I thought was quite fun.
And then hits his head on the boom. Which was glorious. Again, another excellent example of Paul Bettany's superb comic timing.
But I thought it was quite interesting because we've mentioned that Wanda was very obviously Claire Dunphy. There were moments of Agnes's inappropriateness when she took the twins originally that really sort of struck us as very Phil Dunphy. And I think Paul Bettany came off very much as the Ed O'Neill character.
Yeah, or even elements of Mitchell at times, I thought.
Yeah, I can see that as well. Just a bit gutting they didn't go for a full-on Sofia Vergara anywhere, because I love her. I love her so much.
But given they don't have anyone...
No, you'd have had to have brought someone in,
yeah.
Which would have probably been a bit hokey. But yes, that was it's fine. Not much for Wu this week, really. He was kind of a little underused.
But basically, he was the cheerleader role.
Yeah,
which is in some respects quite refreshing for a male character to be stuck in that role, seeing as it's usually female characters that get to stand on the sidelines and cheer. Mm. So
yeah, true.
That was what it was at the end of the day.
Wasn't Phil Dunphy a male cheerleader?
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, block my own face off. Brilliant idea there.
The media person, everyone.
Don't. I'm not camera trained. Clearly, I'm not camera trained.
It's barely how he's trained.
Fuck you. So I'll let you talk about the other big revelation, because again, it's not something I'm massively familiar with from the books.
So I will have to try and keep this brief because someone has an early start tomorrow.
I do.
It's not
I have only got 8 hours until I'm going to be up and driving down to Cardiff to train a driver.
So when I was at school, so many years ago, I used to do role-playing games. One of those role-playing games was Marvel Superheroes. And the character that I always played was the original Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau. So I've got a certain familiarity with the power set that she can turn into energy, she can sense all the energy, all of that sort of stuff. So when Monica Rambeau MCU version basically walks through, you get the blue eye element, and then you get to see what she's seeing, and it's basically energy fields. And I, as I mentioned earlier, just had literally an out loud, oh shit, they are actually turning her into the original Captain Marvel. And I basically internally squeed so hard, so long, and so loud, because I cannot wait to see what happens now. Because, am I correct? She is going to be in the second Captain Marvel movie, isn't she?
I believe so.
So I cannot wait to see what happens when those two characters reunite. But yes, and again, it was so, I think, wonderfully done in a very understated way. She didn't immediately just transform into this thing. It's all very, this growth and coming into power. So obviously, you have that initial, sort of being able to view the energy, which then seemed to fade. So you think, oh, is it just a temporary thing because of the cell changing? and it's kind of reverting back. But then, of course, you have the confrontation with Wanda, and the fact that, oh no, this is clearly something sort of building and building. So yeah, I am super excited, and I think this is possibly, I want to say this is probably the first time we've actually seen a superhero character, like from the MCU perspective, that's actually basically been introduced and had their origin story, if you like, in a TV show. I mean, granted, I know WandaVision is also, you know, the first MCU TV show proper. But if this is an example of how they're finally starting to do that integration between the film MCU and the TV MCU, which they never did with things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., then this, not only obviously is it great for WandaVision, but it gives me so much hope for what they're going to do with all of the other series that are coming down. You know, things like, you know, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and
well, the other thing is you've got to remember that COVID has fucked the timeline for
Yes.
the plan. So we should not be watching WandaVision yet. We should have already finished the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we should have had, I think it's 3 Marvel films in the meantime, and there's a couple that should have happened, but they've just stalled. So I don't think they even got into real production.
which was one of them being the Eternals?
Might have been. I might be wrong. I'll have to double check what.
But
basically, things have moved around because this was ready and nothing else was.
Yeah, I always
kind
thought it was meant to be that we'd have had the MCU TV shows before we had the next wave of movies, because a lot of what they were doing in the shows was kind of laying the groundwork for Phase 4.
Yeah,
is it Phase 4?
Yeah, and also you've got to bear in mind technically the MCU is now 3 years in our future or something.
Yes,
because of the blip. So basically, I think the job of the TV show. Oh, one of them would have been Scarlet Widow, obviously. Scarlet Widow. What? Who? I've made her up. Black Widow should have been out last year.
right. But that was.
But that was a prequel anyway.
Yeah, back in the 80s, wasn't it?
But this is Kevin Feige and Marvel. If it doesn't have some sort of other reveal that makes you look at everything else and oh. I'll be very surprised if it's just so that's actually became the Black Widow. There's going to be more than that. There's going to be, absolutely. They just it's been too well thought out and well put together for too long for them to just throw away. Granted, they have thrown away a cinema release because the cinemas are shut for a year. But that wouldn't have been their plan at developing, writing, and shooting stage. So they wouldn't. I just can't see they'd have just put out a complete setback in the day. Doesn't affect anything. What would be the point? There would be no point. You'd do it straight to video or something. Straight to video. How old am I? So yeah. Yes, I know I'm 49. I don't look it. I got mistaken for 28. I'll have you know. Recently.
28 what?
Inches. I can't even pull that off. Look at it. This is 28 and then some. I think about 44 now, actually. Yeah. So yeah, I really liked it.
It was amazing.
Now there was a thing. I meant to look it up before. Matt sent me a screenshot, and I very briefly caught it. In that opening credits montage, there's one that's all like old schooly, worldy, cutty outy, newspapery, ransom notey that says something like, "I know what you did, Wanda. I know what you're doing to Wanda," or something. Yeah, Matt sent me the picture. I was like, okay. So that's to look out for. And then you had the mid-credits scene, which I'm still not wholly sure, even though we were laughing, because when Rambo confronts, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? You know what I'm going to say. Confronts Wanda on the lawn. We just started chuckling because it was like are you showing your vulnerability? Are you? Is that what you're doing? Because people fall in love with you once you show them you're vulnerable. RuPaul says so all the time. And we go, oh, for fuck's sake. They even got it in UK Drag Race this week, but that'll be another video.
Yes. I will be ranting about it.
He will. He'll start now. We might film it on Sunday. It's the only way. But that is 4 minutes to 11. I really need to think about going to bed. Yes, we love this show. We do love this show. And it's just, I think, but the thing is like, okay, so I've got like a basic Marvel knowledge. There's some bits I know more than others. You've obviously got a deeper knowledge than I have. Interesting. Somebody pointed out to us that actually, technically, the first Captain Marvel is Marvel, not Monica. Monica would be the second.
Yeah, because Marvel is the Kree captain.
Yeah, and as played by Annette Bening in the movie.
Yes.
Well,
again, very different in the comics.
Yeah, different setup and what have you. Somebody pointed that out, so I can't think it was. It might have been Matt. Anyway, probably Matt. Matt will be joining us. Actually, he joined us on our Drag Race video last week, and he's going to come on for WandaVision for the last 2 episodes. So that will be something to look forward to, because his knowledge far outstrips ours for the references for Marvel. he will have them. We kind of have to.
If it's mutants, I'm all there because I read the mutant titles, but the other
if
stuff.
It's Civil War, I'm inside out. Absolutely inside out. Outside of Civil War, I've got to admit, I'm kind of more of a DC person. I've got a lot more Batman books. A lot more Batman. Who won't turn up in this?
Or will he?
Oh, I hope not. I fucking hope not. That would be terrible. So yeah, but this is the thing. But I think you could come to this like my friend Mikey, big fan of the MCU. His uncle works on the films, is in props, which blows my mind every time I think about it. But Mikey, Mikey Rowe, Mikey of Cat Flap Chats, if you're into podcasts, and he doesn't. He'll go away and research it after watching a film or watching a show, but he didn't come to the MCU with any knowledge whatsoever. So it works for everyone. That's what I think they do so well. You don't have to have any background.
And I think because obviously I didn't know that about Mikey. So that, I think, again, is one of the strengths that the MCU is demonstrating, is that you've got people that obviously watch whatever it is they watch within the MCU, but are then so caught up in whatever it is that they actually go away and learn more about it and kind of get into it. And I think there's probably very few properties around at the moment that kind of generate that sort of
I don't think Star Wars is doing it particularly.
No.
I mean, Star Wars is completely relying on its name and goodwill, I think. Sorry, I've got real bad belt. I've moved position and excuse me. There we go. Wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. Rude. So yeah,
you're the one that just belched on me, and I'm the rude one apparently.
Well, frankly, there's some people that will pay for that.